All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're completely deconstructing the grammar of modern mobile-first content creation, step by step. If you've ever wondered why certain clips absolutely glue you to your screen, while others get instantly swiped away, you are about to see the exact mechanics behind it. We are looking at the literal anatomy of the modern viral video.
To really get why video grammar is changing so incredibly fast, we have to look at one massive, staggering reality. 75% of all video views now happen on smartphones, held vertically. According to recent data, video apps are chewing up over 3/4 of all mobile data volume. The phone isn't a secondary screen anymore. It is the absolute primary media carrier. We're spending way more time on our phones than watching traditional TV, and crucially, we are holding those phones straight up.
So, to build the ultimate modern viral hit, we're going to tackle this layer by layer across 4 quick stages. 1. The vertical video shift. 2. Connecting with the audience. 3. Sculpting light and sound. And 4. Creating with AI tools.
Kicking things off with Section 1, the vertical video shift. Let's look at how losing that traditional widescreen has totally flipped how we compose our shots.
Think about traditional cinema for a second. It's all about wide horizons and moving left to right along that x-axis. But a 9:16 phone screen? Totally different beast. Because of how we naturally hold our phones, ergonomic studies show our thumbs just want to scroll straight up and down the middle. So instead of thinking wide, you have to think deep. The modern frame demands staging along the z-axis, perfectly lining up with that natural path of least resistance thumb scroll.
So what does this mean for keeping people watching? Well, since you don't have width, you literally have to stack your content. Platforms heavily favor vertical split screens, like reaction videos or duets. Why? Because hitting the brain with 2 visual channels at once actually boosts average watch time by a massive 40%. Plus, viewers retain up to 60% more information. It's practically a retention superpower. And for camera movement, instead of moving side to side, you push in. Moving directly toward the subject acts like a huge emotional exclamation point right down that z-axis.
Moving right along to Section 2, connecting with the audience. Let's dig into the psychology of building instant trust and intimacy.
Take a look at this empirical data on camera angles. Researchers tested shooting subjects from all different heights, and the results are crystal clear. Shooting someone perfectly at eye level gets the absolute highest trust ratings. On the flip side, shooting from a high angle, looking down at the subject, statistically tanks trust scores by 0.8 points on a 9-point scale. It instantly creates this weird distancing effect and totally strips away the person's credibility.
Now, pair that perfect eye-level shot with breaking the fourth wall, and you've got absolute magic. When the person looks directly into the lens. We've seen it forever, from Charlie Chaplin to Ferris Bueller, but in short-form content, it's essential. When you look right at the camera, you're letting the audience in on a secret. It makes the viewer feel valued, important, and totally invested in whatever narrative is unfolding.
But here is the catch. If you want that intimate connection, your shot has to be incredibly smooth. Enter the gyro-stabilized POV. On a massive movie screen, a little shaky cam is totally fine. But on a 6-inch screen held inches from someone's face, those tiny, high-frequency micro-vibrations are literally exhausting for the eyes and can even make people feel motion sick. You absolutely have to stabilize that shot for physiological comfort, otherwise they're swiping away immediately.
And the creator economy definitely got the memo on this one. The global market for smartphone gimbals is on track to hit $1.5 billion by 2025, riding a wild 15% growth rate straight through 2033. Everyone knows that a smooth, stabilized shot isn't just a nice-to-have anymore, it's practically mandatory for mobile success.
All right, on to Section 3, sculpting light and sound. Let's talk about the invisible sensory forces that make or break a vertical clip.
Lighting in a vertical frame isn't just about making things bright. It's doing serious psychological work. Whatever you do, do not light from below. This EEG data is wild. It shows that underlighting a face actually distorts the features and triggers a negative early posterior negativity. Basically, it sends a subconscious distress signal to your audience's brain before you even open your mouth. You want a classic 45-degree top light. It guides the eye naturally down the screen and instantly boosts those perceptions of trustworthiness we talked about. Then there's the audio. Because your vertical frame is so incredibly narrow, your sound has to do a ton of heavy lifting to build out the world outside the screen. That's where spatial binaural sound comes in.
Since most people are scrolling with headphones on, hearing footsteps behind them or a voice off to the side acts as an invisible extension of the frame. It creates this massive acoustic 3D space that a 9:16 screen physically just doesn't have.
And to make the edit truly engaging, you've got to tightly layer your sound design. Use risers to build up tension before a cut. Throw in whooshes to make your zoom-ins feel super kinetic. Stack multiple pop sounds when graphics show up for a really rich, satisfying texture. You can even use glass breaks for aggressive transitions. And my absolute favorite, tactile sub-bass. Pushing prolonged low frequencies right through the phone's speaker creates a literal, light pulsing pressure in the viewer's palm. It masks abrupt location changes and literally turns watching into a physical, kinesthetic event.
Finally, we hit Section 4, Creating with AI Tools. Let's look at the incredible modern engines currently putting all this high-level production on absolute autopilot.
Platforms out there right now are making this absolutely wild promise, generating a publish-ready video in under 10 minutes from one single prompt. No joke. The AI instantly handles the scene composition, syncs all the motion graphics perfectly to the beat, and generates professional voiceovers, all formatted exactly for that vertical screen. And the best part? You don't even need to touch a traditional editing timeline to do it.
If you're looking at wildly viral niches, like say the massive trend of funny AI-generated baby clips, the workflow is streamlined into just 4 fast steps. First, you feed a master prompt into something like ChatGPT, giving it your formatting and comedy constraints. Second, the AI pitches you 15 different concepts. Third, you pick your favorite and it instantly writes an ultra-realistic cinematic prompt for it. Finally, you just paste that into a generator like Flow AI and boom, export it. You just completely bypass needing an expensive camera, a set, or actors.
And the brilliant part is that these AI tools aren't just churning out random generic stuff. They maintain strict brand consistency. You upload your logo, your colors, and your fonts just once. You can even clone your exact authentic voice. Tell the AI you want soft pastel backgrounds and it remembers that, applying your specific look automatically across every single render. So whether you make 1 clip or 100, your brand identity is totally locked in, frame by frame.
So we have totally deconstructed the vertical canvas. We've looked at the psychology of eye-level trust, the sensory science of 3D audio and tactile sub-bass, and the insane scale of modern AI workflows. We know exactly what keeps a thumb from swiping away. So the only question left for you is, now that you know the exact anatomy of a modern viral hit, how are you going to use these tools to build your next masterpiece? Thanks so much for hanging out with me on this explainer, and I will catch you in the next one.